be a live studio sort of things. So this is what our plan is, sir. And we are really grateful today you are here to interact with our audience who are very dedicated. We have MBA students, we have retired persons from good to great organizations, sir. I am very much grateful to particularly senior, citizens or the motivators for this Friday evening talk. They are raising good to great questions even. My sincere appeal to you, all of you, please first listen, understand, and raise a question which will not be another talk. Okay. Come to the point, raise the question. Okay. It is not like that. Sir is talking about artificial intelligence and you are just asking about ChatGPT. Okay. Please think about it, whether your question is to the point or not, or it is going to be redundant. I said the redundant meaning is a little bit higher than the, not matching the context. Okay. This is the periphery we are taking about today's talk. If you ask me, might be possible one session is not enough for the title he is taking up today. Okay. Series of sessions will be needed for this particular topic. So I was discussing with sir whether he can spare his valuable time for extended session also, like whole day session sort of things. Okay, hands-on a little bit. Many questions are there. For example, common sense question if you ask, what about the intellectual property right and AI? Okay, I create something through AI, and what about the intellectual property right? I can quote a very controversial things which has happened recently. Okay, law given the verdict that might be possible some post or some video which has been created by AI. Okay, so immediately no decision will be taken. Let us investigate further. So this is what going to be the era of AI. Okay, I'll not take much time. Only thing to be considered is that this time we did this session prior registration. There is a reason. We requested all the participants to register. The audience registered. So this time, first time, strictly. And post AGM might be possible. We'll be taking few more steps. And students, those who are here, MBA students, this is the best platform to interact with the industry persons and develop the contact. Many a time I have seen students are worried about their placement. I don't know why they are worried. They should go for a backward integration when they are students. Backward integration meaning the industry connect. Sir, when you go through the sir's profile, you will find that sir can give you so many places where you can place yourself. Okay, because he is a India famous as well as, and he is a LinkedIn voice. You can understand what is the importance of LinkedIn voice. Please maintain the decorum. We will welcome the questions. Okay, we are live also. I request now our anchor to talk about sir. Though talking about sir might be take hours, but we will not take that much of time. We will want to keep sir maximum time. Over to anchor. One point I request all the audience, I am with a special responsibility from BARODA Management Association. We are inviting members, and that too very active members, because we are organizing many things. We are inviting members. So please consider to take your membership. Procedure is very simple. This is for student as well as the professionals. Okay. Even the retired person also. Thank you. Over to Nidhi. जरूरत नहीं है तो छोड़ दे।
Ashok Jamwar sir is a LinkedIn top voice and is presently mentor at GR Technologies, LLP and member of Advisory Board, Human Development Society, New Delhi. He is also presently a visiting faculty at MTI, Gurgaon, and in the MHRM program of the MS University, Vadodara. He was earlier Chief General Manager with Indian Oil Corporation Limited. He has his first degree in Physics Honours from and an MSW from BARODA University of Vadodara. He also has an international MBA from the University of Ljubljana in Slovenia. During his over 40 years of work life, he has been an award-winning HR practitioner with experience across the people practice value chain. He has travelled widely across Western Europe, North America and Australia, during which he has visited OPEC in Vienna, Shell refinery in Rotterdam, on the outskirts of Amsterdam, BP Texas refinery and the BP office in London.
He underwent the Advanced Human Resource Management program held jointly at the Queensland University of Technology in Brisbane, Australia in 2015. He has presented papers in several seminars and conferences both in India and overseas, including 4 papers at the prestigious biannual Petrotech conference between 2009 to 2014. He is a member of the advisory committee of the Continuing Education Program (CEP) of IIT Delhi. He was awarded the HR Excellence Award by his alma mater, the Maharaja Sayaji Rao University of Baroda in Feb 2021. He was chosen as Inspiring HR Leader by TGHR in June 2021. He is a life member of the Indian Society of Analytical Science (ISAS). He has in the past been a visiting faculty at several D schools and institutions of higher education both in India and overseas, including IRMA, Anand, MDI, Gurgaon, IMI New Delhi, Atmiya University, Rajkot, MS Patel Institute of Management Studies, MS University of Baroda, Parul University, Baroda and John Goddard Schools of Business and Economics, USA of Don. He has deep domain expertise in planning and building human capabilities at the individual and enterprise level. We welcome you, sir.
Thank you very much. Thanks to Shobha and of course Professor Shantanu for giving me this opportunity. In fact, Professor Shantanu has worked very hard to make this evening's FET worth your time and effort, and it's a great privilege for me to be here. It's also very humbling. Thank you also for the very elaborate introduction. I was hoping to cut it short a bit. There's a good gathering already, and I'm sure it's a Friday evening, so Baroda traffic has started becoming a bit notorious. People may still be on their way. And considering that this is BMA, I'm sure it's a very eclectic gathering. Let me begin by saying that when you discuss any technology-related topic, there are always 2 broad approaches that are possible. One, of course, is the technology developer's perspective, and the other is the user's perspective. If suppose today we were discussing hydrogen fuel cell, its design, applications, efficiency, cost, perhaps we would take the first approach. We would take a developer's approach. But since we are talking about AI and digital technologies, and one of the first mass consumption generic AI product, namely ChatGPT, that was referred to earlier, was launched way back in November 2022. That's almost 3 years ago. So I propose to deal with the topic from a user's perspective. So we will not be discussing at great length about how an algorithm is developed and why it is useful to use Python as the language in which most AI algorithms are written and things like that. Lastly, a word that literally runs on search engines, it is said that getting the answer or finding the right answer is not as important as asking the right question. So by the end of today's session, I hope all of us will be in a position to ask better or more relevant questions about AI and digital technologies and what impact it can have on our lives, even if we do not get all the answers today. In any case, if we accept the premise that we are all living in a very fast changing world, then we also have to accept that the answers will keep changing, even to the same question, right? As far as your questions during today's session are concerned, I think there's already been reference has been made. So please note them down, and DMA will provide a structured time at the end of my presentation to deal with them. Try and make sure the questions are as specific as possible, and we don't have to go back and forth trying to figure out what exactly the question is. Before I start, I request all of you to please keep your mobiles on silent mode so that they don't disturb other people. I will not ask you to switch them off because I believe that that's not the purpose for which that technology was created. So no need to switch off your mobile phones, but keep it on silent mode. And if there is any particular call that is very persistent or important, you can always step outside and take it. Right, I think let's dive straight in. Right, so the discussion agenda are the 3 waves of human existence on this planet. Some of you might have read the book written by Alvin Toffler. I use that as a benchmark. Accelerated development of technologies, AI and digital technologies specifically. The current focus on the future of work, because a lot of people, the moment you talk about AI, I think the concern is, are we going to lose jobs? So we look at that. Implications for the employer, the employee, and the manager. Okay, and of course, workplaces of the future. So the third wave is a book written a long time back by Alvin Toffler, and he broadly classified human existence on this planet into 3 very broad waves. The first, of course, is agriculture, in terms of being an organized activity, which has been around for approximately 10,000 years. The second is factories of mass manufacturing. The first factory was set up sometime in the 17th century, early 17th century. The Industrial Revolution was the transition from creating goods by hand to using machines to produce goods. And the third wave, IT, internet, digitalization, services sector, the growth of the services sector, going all the way up to space tourism, which has already arrived and it's ongoing and evolving. I think the first space hotel may be set up sometime in the next maybe 5 to 7 years. Talking about accelerated development of technologies, when Netflix came way back in 1999, it took about 3.5 years to reach 1 million users. Kickstarter took 2.5 years in 2009. Airbnb took 2.5 years in 2008. Twitter, which came in 2006, took 2 years to reach 1 million users. Foursquare took 13 months. Facebook took 10 months in 2004. Dropbox took 7 months. Spotify took 5 months. Instagram, which most of us are on, and we spend a lot of our waking hours on Insta, took 75 days. And ChatGPT, which came in 2022, took precisely 5 days to reach 1 million users. So if you're talking about the speed at which mankind is using, consuming digital technologies, adapting to them, there is the proof for it. The biggest shift in technology, I think, so when I was in college, there was this first wave, and everybody was doing some programming language, like these days people do coding, and the Baroda Productivity Council used to run a 6-month certificate program in COBOL, programming language. So I enrolled for that, and obviously productivity road पे एक छोटा सा बिल्डिंग था, पता नहीं आपको बिल्डिंग भी शायद नहीं है. And then after about spending 2.5 months or so in the course, One fine day they told us that in your next class you are going to visit a computer center, and we were all excited. But the computer center was not in BPC. We were all told to reach Olympic Chemical Computer Center, which was inside the Olympic colony. It was a separate building, and there was a mainframe computer, so we all went there. We reached there at the appointed time, and then we took off our shoes like we do in a temple. We went inside. We didn't understand anything, and that was our first visit. So you had to go to where the computer was, right? That was the first interaction that human beings had with computers. So whether you were an employee or you were a student or whatever, you went to where the computer is located. Then came the next round, which is desktop. And the desktop PCs sat on your desk. This is how the name desktop comes. You didn't have to move from your workstation. So in the morning, if you came to office and you logged in, you were online. But the moment you left office, it would wants me to learn more. So, if you were in office and you were logged in, you were online, otherwise you were offline. And there was no way your boss could call you at 8 in the evening and say, "Yeah, wo PPT mujhe bhej dena." And then you open your whatever device and you just send it. That was not possible. That was not the times that we lived. Then came laptops and mobiles, which move with you. They go wherever you go. But still, you have to carry them. And before smartphones came, and laptops were not as light as they are, nowadays, it used to be quite heavy. And लोग बोलने लगे कि अगला जनरेशन जो है ऐसे पैदा हो, जो कि एक तरफ को झुका होगा. Thank God somebody invented the backpack, and now things are different. But what's coming next is even more interesting. The next gen technology is wearable. So you don't have to bother carrying them. Just press a button on your spectacles and your screen, your desktop will just unfold virtually in front of your eyes, and you can just work. And wearable technology refers to devices, accessories, even clothing, which incorporate computer and other advanced electronic devices or technologies. And so many of us are already using some of these devices, and they include fitness trackers, bands, smart glasses, smart watches, smart clothing, other wearable devices, Fitbit, Google Glasses, Apple Watch, etc. You also have a wearable fingering device. So, if you want something really small and not as heavy, you can just wear a ring and it will do all the things, it will perform all the functions. So the thing is, no matter what the size, no matter what the weight, none of the functions are going to be compromised. And we started learning and adapting to that from the time the smartphone came into our hands. So smart glasses, smart watch, smart shirt, GPS, GPRS, body control, Bluetooth, key tracker, smart shoes, smart socks, smart pants, so many types of wearable devices. Okay, what customers expect from wearable devices is a little different from what it would expect from a device that is kept on your desktop. So connectivity, providing and processing data offers connectivity options like Wi-Fi, Bluetooth for data input, data transmission on a real-time basis. Comfort, ease of use, provides a very comfortable, portable, lightweight device and a very comfortable experience using it. Sensors recognizing user action, measure activity levels, distance traveled, number of steps you have walked, etc. Contactless control through voice activation. It can recognize your voice and it can take action depending upon whatever command you give it. Portability, this is the ultimate in portability, right? Also minimum charging time, because as devices get smaller, their power consumption decreases, and so charging time reduces automatically. Multifunction obviously augments special features with the ability to track multiple parameters while providing automated user feedback, notifications, alerts, all of that. Quick response time, highly intelligent quick response time, afford minimal interaction with user, expedite user manual action. So really, time is getting compressed and you can do things pretty fast. Communication, connect with an expanding community of wearables, devices, systems, platforms, services, software. So all the connectivity in the world that you need. The right content, so value is important, and today content is king. So extract and analyze meaningful data, allow users to make informed decisions on the go, literally, even as you move. So some of the characteristics of wearable technologies, of course, is that it is always the latest technology and the state of the art will keep changing. So it's not static. If you today buy, let's say, an Apple Watch, please don't believe that that's the end, that's the beginning. You're going to keep updating to newer and newer models. Wireless connectivity, miniaturization, absolutely small, low cost in the long term. So initially it might appear to be a bit expensive, but in the long term it's a lot more cost effective. Mobility, portability, lower energy cost, we talked about that, energy savings, seamless integration with human beings and human capabilities. So it works with you, some of them can even get charged using body temperature. So charging, recharging with human body. IIT Mandi researchers have shown that charging low power flexible electronic devices is no longer a problem. These devices can be charged by the heat of the human body, as simple as that. We were talking about digital technologies. We are going to continue to talk about digital technologies today. And let us look at the world's largest companies by market cap. So you have here, this is, I think, 2023. Apple, Microsoft, Saudi Aramco. Look at Saudi Aramco, an oil and gas company at third position. Then of course you have Alphabet, which is basically the owner of Google. Then you have Amazon. Then you have Nvidia, Meta, which owns and operates Facebook and the associated social media platforms. Berkshire Hathaway, Tesla, Eli Lilly, which is the pharmaceutical company. Now the moment you come to April 2025, look at what has happened. The top 4 or 5, Saudi Aramco has slipped to 6th place. And Eli Lilly, which is one of the world's largest pharmaceutical companies, is out from the list. So, services companies, IT companies, their market capitalization, their growth is becoming faster and faster to prove the point that digital is where the world is going. Okay, Industry 4.0 and the future of work, right? So, the first Industry 1.0 was basically mechanization, water power, steam engines, Industry 2.0, mass production, assembly line, use of electricity, Industry 3.0, computer and automation, basically mainframes, mini computers, etc. And the fourth is cyber physical systems. So the cyber and the physical, they kind of coexist. That is actually Industry 4.0. Alright? So autonomous robots, simulation, system integration, IoT, Internet of Things, cybersecurity, cloud computing, additive manufacturing, augmented reality. I mean, some of the surgeries that doctors perform, surgeons perform, are performed in a place which you cannot see. I mean, neurosurgery, for instance, accident का केस है, ले आए हॉस्पिटल में, skull है, skull के अंदर पीछे से कहीं से है, there is no way you can see, and yet you have to operate it. Maybe there's a blood clot, maybe there's a nerve that has got split and you have to rejoin it. Unless you use augmented reality, some of the surgeries that are already happening today, these were not happening before. So that's the power of augmented reality. Okay. Also, marine research. You know how visibility gets affected. I'm sure some of you know swimming. So the moment you look underwater, if you are underwater, you have one level of visibility. But if you are outside water and you have to take pictures underwater, it's absolutely difficult. In a swimming pool, the water is still clear. But in the ocean, I mean, absolutely hazy. And that's where augmented reality comes in, plays a big role. Let's talk about AI and digital technologies, and what I would really like to do is to demystify AI for all of us as much as I can, as quickly as I can. So, in one line, if we were to understand artificial intelligence, what it does is it mimics human intelligence, it copies human intelligence. Now, that's oversimplifying it, right? I mean, kitna samajh mein aayega is 8 lines. So let's take an example. A small child is born. Normally, the initial few weeks or maybe few months, the child is on their back. And then a time comes जब वो करवट पहली बार लेता है. And then a time comes when they start crawling and mobility comes in. And the last thing they do, जिसके बड़े वीडियो खींचे जाते हैं, is when they stand up and take those first few steps very hesitantly. Right? Now, is this child ready to cross the road? suppose the child has to cross OP road, I mean even without the Atal flyover, आधा रास्ता जाओ, divider है, divider पे 1 minute रुको, दूसरी तरफ, can this child do that? But a time will come at a certain age when this child, unassisted, this boy or girl, now no more a child, can cross a road, right? And as this boy or girl keeps crossing the road again and again and again, his or her ability to judge and take action on that judgment keeps improving. So there are layers and layers and layers of that experience-based input that is getting built until, of course, the person reaches an age when your reflexes slow down. You know, you become old and then you can't, right? Can anyone estimate how many times some of you would have crossed a road in your life? I know it's difficult. Maybe 30,000 times, maybe 17,000 times, maybe 25,000 times. I don't know. I have no idea. Now suppose we create a system, right? We write an algorithm and then we talk of big data. So if all the data of all the occasions when you have crossed a road safely is built into the database, would you call that big data? Right? That's big data. Suppose you are able to capture into the database all the occasions in which all of mankind, especially those living in cities, have crossed the road. Would that be big data? My God, that would be massive data, right? And then you have an algorithm that pulls data out of that and creates the logic for how do you cross a road safely. And something like that is exactly what Tesla is doing. How many people know Tesla? Everyone. How many people believe Tesla is a car company? Everyone. No, some. Few hands are down. Those who are still having their hands up. Yes, ma'am. Tesla is a car company. Yes or no?
पहचाना तो कार से ही है.
So you're saying yes. Okay. So some people say Tesla is not a car company. They're sitting right here. They're not even experts living in US. हमारा बाजू में बैठना चाहिए. They are saying Tesla is not a car company. You want to ask them what is it? What is Tesla? What is Tesla?
Space.
It's a data company. What defines Tesla more than anything else? Of course, they also make EVs and they also make autonomous cars, right? But what defines Tesla more than anything else is that it has data, huge volumes of data, and is still continuously pulling data from wherever it can get data to make urban mobility safe, cheap, and sustainable. Urban mobility, passenger mobility in urban settings, safe, cheap, sustainable. Safe for the passenger and for other people on the roads. Cheap, cost effective, and environmentally sustainable. That's what they're doing. Using what? Data. Every conceivable road on this planet where a car can move, whether it's in the chaotic old Delhi, Purani Delhi, or it is in Mexico, New Mexico or somewhere where traffic is really bad, they know the traffic conditions, or they have the data. They know what is safe way to negotiate from point A to B, right? So now you get a sense of what AI does. So there's an algorithm and it sits on top of a database, big data as we call it. These days everybody calls it big data. So that's a simple example of how AI works, especially crossing the road, right? So if you have a database, big data which contains all the occasions of whenever any human being has crossed a road, can you imagine the kind of data? How rich, how diverse, how big? And how do they define big data? Volume, velocity, veracity. Okay, so all the features will be there. Okay, I'll not spend much time on this. Initially, people thought human intelligence was basically IQ, EQ, AQ, and SQ, intelligence quotient, emotional quotient, adaptability quotient, social quotient. Now, of course, there are so many. Now we do understand that human intelligence actually comes in very many different ways. So there is spatial intelligence. which typically an architect would use. તમે એને કહી દો કે આટલાનું મેઝરમેન્ટનું પ્લોટ છે તો and this is your budget and he will design a house for you which you cannot imagine, or even if you have something in mind you can't put it on paper or on a 3D using a 3D tool or something. Okay, then there is naturalist. There are people who are nature lovers, quite naturally. Then there are people who have a musical sense. Then there are people who are very logical, mathematical, the IQ part that we talked about. Then there are people who are existential. They always asking questions to themselves and others. Where do we live and things like that. But this is not really the focus of what we are going to discuss. Let's move forward and look at AI and big data and how are they related. AI requires a massive scale of data, as I already mentioned, and that improves decision-making processes and outcomes. The quality of decision-making improves vastly, right? Algorithm, of course, is a well-defined systematic logical approach that comes with a step-by-step procedure for computers to solve any given problem. So problem solving is at the core. That's the fundamental difference between a program and an algorithm. Not all programs solve problems. Because an algorithm will always attempt to solve a problem. Program refers to the code written by programmers for any program. It will follow certain basic rules of whichever programming language you have written it, whether it is C, C++. Can AI work without data? No. Okay. A first possibility for AI to learn and perform without data is so-called unsupervised learning. Right? So you have large language models, right? LLM, which is one part of AI, and generative AI is the other part. So unsupervised learning, right? And unsupervised learning is a type of machine learning where the AI is not given labeled, structured data, meaning that there are no predefined answers for the algorithm to learn from. There is an algorithm, there is no data. Okay? Now what happens when you create an algorithm like that? The algorithm may come up with solutions that are not reliable, or may not be preferred by human beings, or may be illegal, or unethical, or dangerous to human existence. So suppose we get an AI-based robot into this room and give it an algorithm, meaning very detailed set of instructions, to use all the metal available in this room and make U-clips. वो sheet of papers में डालते हैं U-clip. Okay, whatever metal is available, please collect it, and the robot also is in sync with the algorithm, and make U-clips. So it will find out places wherever metal is available, and it will take all that metal and make U-clips. When all that available metal is over, it will detect that सर के टांग में एक ऑर्थोपेडिक सर्जरी में एक प्लेट डाला हुआ है. ऐसा नहीं है but suppose डाला है, and then what it will do? It will go to this person and break open this person. He doesn't understand life and death. He's understand. It will break open this person, remove that plate or rod. Many of our families have some family member who's on orthopedic surgery, right? And then take the metal out of that and make U-clips. Because we said make as many U-clips as possible. That's the instruction the algorithm has been given. Now you know why some people are scared of, OpenAI, that CEO, he put this job and he said, I'm not going to work in this field anymore. Not only that, if you don't specify that you should make U-clips only with metal, and if you give the instruction, please make as many U-clips as possible, it will take any composite material available outside or inside living creatures sitting in this room, and it will keep making U-clips of some kind of a composite material. So if you don't provide AI with the right set of data and merely provide it with an algorithm, are you all with me? This can happen. Thankfully, till now it has not happened. But from our understanding, comprehension of technology, logic, reasoning, comprehension, we believe that this is exactly what is likely to happen. So AI mainly comprises of two parts. I mentioned large language models, LLMs, and generative AI. An LLM is a type of artificial intelligence that can recognize trends and patterns, cause and effect, and it can generate text. Right? So there was this friend of mine. He created a voice-based, voice-activated AI module for cost training. And then he said that, I want to get you on board. I said, okay. He said, I'll create a small description of yours. I said, go ahead. So he was using Chat GPT 4.0. So he told that, go to his LinkedIn profile, pick up text, and within no time, 3 short paras about me, it was able to make. If you provide data, and if you give instructions, an AI tool will give you a PPT, a white paper, an approach paper, a PDF document, whatever you do. Generative AI is named for its capability to generate a more diverse set of outputs. It will give you options, and it will give you very interesting options, very useful options, including not just text and not just numbers, alphanumeric. You all understand alphanumeric, right? But images, audio, computer code, and much more. And that is the input that goes into augmented reality. So this blue whale, which people go to Alaska cruise, if you do, you can see it. But it comes out, a major part of it is still inside the water. In fact, a smaller part, just the snout comes out. And then it blows air out and takes a huge, sucks a huge amount of air, and then it splashes. If you want to see it very clearly, there is no way you can see it, no matter how close you go. First of all, they will not take the cruise ship too close because it will be dangerous to the animal. Right? Augmented reality is what helps. I remember a time when Indians were not going to Europe and North America. They used to go to Kuala Lumpur, Singapore. The earliest waves of foreign touring that Indians did. So I also went to Kuala Lumpur, and Petronas Twin Towers was briefly for some time the world's tallest building. So मेरे पास एक डिजिटल कैमरा था, Canon, I want to take a picture. पास में जाओ, अपर्चर में नहीं आएगा. दूर में जाओ, दूसरे ऑब्जेक्ट्स बीच में आ जाएंगे. Don't know why I could take a proper picture. Right? Thankfully, if you have seen the Taj Mahal, there is a huge boundary all around that. Otherwise, there would have been so many buildings and structures, and nobody could have clicked a picture of even the Taj Mahal. So that's what generative AI can do. Now, AI, cloud computing, IoT or Internet of Things, supercomputing, robotics, streaming devices, digital networks, big data, AR and VR, and many others, when put together, are referred to as digital technology. So AI doesn't work alone, it actually works in combination with several other things. When we started off with big data, we talked about velocity, volume, variety, and veracity. We all understand what is velocity, volume, variety. Veracity is truthfulness, right? Now they have added 3 more V's: variability, visualization, and value. Right? So those are the 7 V's of big data. So normally people end up asking this question: how big is big data? It's not about sheer volume. Merely volume doesn't suggest anything significant. Big data is something that's constantly growing at a very rapid pace. AI is a technology that enables computers and machines to simulate human learning, comprehension, problem solving, decision making, creativity, and autonomy. Like human beings, AI also seeks autonomy. And that's where the problem is. Applications and devices that are equipped with AI can see and identify objects, people, places. And it is suspected that depending upon how the algorithm is written, it may develop biases in pretty much the same way as human beings develop bias. है ना? कुछ लोग हमें पसंद आते हैं, कुछ लोग हमें पसंद नहीं आते, और कुछ लोगों से हम बहुत ज़्यादा नफरत करते हैं. नहीं करते या करते हैं? करते हैं. That's how human beings are. Okay? They can understand and respond to human language or anything that feels or sounds like human voice. So if you have a voice-activated AI system or AI tool, and if somebody can copy my voice, because it recognizes my voice, and in my voice give it an instruction which that person wants it to do, like hacking into Mr. Balram's bank account and transferring all the money. He's the CEO of a company, right? So if you give instruction and hack his bank account and transfer all that money into my account.
They came with his face and the language tone also exactly my friend.
Exactly.
So I thought some money had to be transferred, so I did it.
So it not only recognizes human voice, it will
So much
perform
copy.
the same activity if that instruction is given in a voice that sounds very close to the voice which it recognizes. That's the risk. Okay, the power and capabilities of AI and digital technologies very quickly. So some of you may have read this book or at least heard about it, The Driver in the Driverless Car. There are two authors, one of them is a person of Indian origin, Vivek Varma. They're basically talking about the autonomous cars being developed by Tesla and many others. China is already deploying self-driving parcel delivery cars nationwide. They're already doing it. Okay. AI therapy takes off in China and Taiwan, but doctors warn of dangers. So there are databases कि डोलो 650 कब लेना है, पैरासिटामोल कब लेना है, डेटाबेस है, AI बोल रहा है अच्छा 3 दिन से बुखार है, 5 दिन के लिए ये ले लो. तो डॉक्टर्स आर सेइंग that there are risks. Naturally उनकी नौकरी जा रही है, तो डॉक्टर्स तो घबराएंगे. YouTube is training its AI to play ads right after the peak moments in videos. So what YouTube does is it is looking at your eyes, and there are times when you are absolutely fixed, you're not moving your gaze, and after that immediately the ad will play, so that your attention to the ad is heightened, right? And if you have heightened attention to the advertisement, the chance is that you may turn into a buyer of that product or service. China's first aerial mothership, GUTR SS UAV, is scheduled for its maiden flight next month. Okay, and you don't have to trigger drones sitting in Beijing or some place in China. This will take off, go someplace, and mid-air it will trigger other drones. And the complete database. I mean, you all know the problems between China and Taiwan, right? So they have all the data of Taiwan thanks to Google Maps and all the satellite images, and they can, if they want, they can try and do that. Scientists have created shape-shifting nano-robots that can flow like liquid and harden like steel. These are micro robots, very small. It can flow like a liquid, and it can also become hard like steel. And way back in 1966, there was a movie, Fantastic Voyage, which is an American science fiction adventure film directed by Richard Fleischer. And in that film, they talk about a submarine crew who are shrunk to microscopic size and venture into the body of an injured scientist to repair some damage to his brain. There's some blood clot. So this scientist is actually escaping Soviet Union and moving to USA, but KGB comes to know, and when he gets off the flight, they fire, and the bullet goes into the brain. They remove the bullet, but there's some blood clot. And the only way you can go there is, you can remove that clot is by going there. How do you go there? So the crew is inside a submarine, the whole thing is miniaturized, injected into the blood vessel. This is science fiction that I'm talking about. But on the other side, we have scientists who have created shape-shifting nanorobots that can flow like liquid and harden like steel. So when it flows like liquid, it can pass through our blood, and when it has to go somewhere and perform some operation, some activity, it can do that. Again, switch back into molten or liquid shape and flow back. Okay. What AI and digital technologies can do to our work? The most interesting part, I guess, at least for the youngsters. Okay. So Bill Gates predicted some time back that 2-day work a week. He predicted, and he said that as AI will replace humans for most jobs within a decade, and he said this about 3 years back. So he said 2-day work a week आएगा, हफ्ते में सिर्फ 2 दिन काम करना. आप में से कुछ लोगों को सुन के अच्छा लग सकता है. Some of you may even get worried, right? Now the promise of less work is not something new to mankind. It's not that it's only happening now, and Bill Gates has said. Way back in 1930, almost 100 years ago, economist John Maynard Keynes predicted you'll be working just 15 hours a week by 2030. 100 years ago, 95 years ago, he said this. But we are here in 2025 and working more hours than ever before. And especially if some people are doing work from home, how many hours we all work, after the COVID hit us, right? So what really happened? 100 साल पहले बोला था, अभी तक कुछ हुआ नहीं. Capitalism, it kept scaling up. bigger factories, more production, bigger markets, sell more, make more money, more production, more work, more demand for labor world over. Technology boosted productivity, but it didn't cut hours. Instead, it fed people. And then people wrote books like Fortune at the Bottom of the Pyramid and things like that. So, you explore unexplored markets and you do all of that. Okay? But why is it that this time it could be different? इस बार कुछ अलग होने वाला है. क्यों? कैसे? Unlike past technology waves, AI doesn't just make you more efficient. All previous technologies just increased our efficiency, made us work more with the same amount of time. This time around, it makes you optional. This time around, what AI is going to do is, you may or may not be required. And if people can work without human beings, given all the challenges of managing people, they might choose to work with machines. Okay? For the first time in human history, machines won't just assist us. They will replace us in nearly every task. Better, faster, cheaper. One-time cost. White collar, blue collar, no job is off limits for an AI-based system. So a future of freedom or a future of friction? Bill Gates' vision of a 2-day work week can become real, it could become real, but only if we reimagine the entire system. It's not just about people having jobs or not having jobs. Where will the taxes come from? And what about purpose in life? Especially those of us here who are in a slightly senior age group, we know that we don't work for just the salary. That's a myth. Especially at the beginning of your career, you think that money is the most important thing. Well, it is. शादी करना है, घर बनाना है, गाड़ी खरीदना है. It is. But purpose, identity, meaning of life comes from work. At least so far it has come from work. Right? So that's the part that we need to figure out. And big questions remain. How will we fund society if jobs vanish? All countries, all economies, everywhere, from across the Atlantic, Mexico, Canada, USA, all the way to India, everywhere people who work, they are taxed. And that's how governments make money. So if people stop working, where will the tax come from? Robots will not give you taxes, right? And what happens to our sense of purpose? Are we ready for radical leisure? Do we know what to do with about 14 to 16 hours a day for a major part of our lives? I mean, when I retired 4 years back, I was worried. What am I going to do 20 to 14 hours a day? I was in a big city. My commute used to take 4 hours, and I used to work about 8.5, 9 hours. 13-14 घंटा set. So when retirement came, I got worried. And imagine a generation who, from day one, will have nothing to do. What are you going to do? That's the real question. Right. So let's move to the future of work and how digital technologies as a basket are impacting work. Future of work basically refers to a very informed perspective on what businesses and other kinds of organizations need to know about how work will shift given digitalization and other trends, plus how workforces and workplaces can prepare for those changes, whether they are big or small. So what does FOW look at? 3 things. Work, how the work is done. काम कैसे किया जाएगा? Workforce, who will do the work? And workplace, where and when will work be done? Right? So that's basically what future of work looks at. Full-time, part-time employees, crowdsourcing, gig workers, co-located workplace, there's so many co-working spaces even in Baroda, remote workers, fluid work schedules, of course how work is done using robotics. Have you heard of dark factories? Yeah? No? Okay. I'm sure some of you have heard. There are dark factories in China where there's absolutely no manpower. Zero manpower. And if it's zero manpower, you don't need light, no? Light किसलिए चाहिए? And you don't need canteen, you don't need washrooms, you don't need cafeteria, you don't need chairs, tables, you need nothing. Huge cost saving. Okay? Of course, that's an extreme, and maybe not every kind of work can be done in a dark factory. Okay? Some of the big ticket items of future of work. The workplace is not a place. हमारे जनरेशन, हमारे पहले जनरेशन और हमारे बाद के 1-2 जनरेशन तक बड़ा एक्साइटमेंट था कि कल फर्स्ट डे एट वर्क, ऑफिस गए, आपका क्यूबिकल मिला, all of that. Workplace is no more a place. Half-life of skills is shrinking and very fast. Existing jobs have become obsolete by 2030. Some have already become. Many jobs that will exist in 2030 have not been invented yet. We have not yet figured it out. Future workforces will include both on and off balance sheet talent. पहले होता था कि भाई सेक्शन 270 सबसेक्शन 2A ऑफ कंपनीज एक्ट में इतने से ज्यादा सैलरी मिलने वाले का सभी का नाम आता था. हम बड़ा एस्पायर करते थे कि उसमें हमारा नाम आना चाहिए. What balance sheet? People are not on the balance sheet. They are not working for you. I went to Chakan in 2019. There's a Mahindra plant there. I don't know if any of you have been there. 800 workers. Mahindra and Mahindra employees 6. 2 shifts. 2 shifts. They are making that. अभी उसको आजकल उसको वो बोलते हैं, बोलेरो बोलते हैं उस गाड़ी को. TUV 300 या 700 जो भी था वो वहाँ बनता था, including the export model. एक्सपोर्ट का बैच अलग होता था, वो भी वहीं बनता था. 800 employees and only 6 Mahindra and Mahindra employees. Mahindra का प्लांट चाकन पुणे. Okay, so future workforce will be both on and off balance sheet talent. Digital and other disruptive technologies will shape work, workplace and workforce continuously. This is not a point. This is not static. This is changing. It's evolving. Even as we are all sitting here and discussing, it is changing. That's the speed at which this change is happening. DEI and workforce well-being will be a critical part of workforce experience. It has never been more important. Okay? Future skills, complex problem solving, critical thinking and analysis, innovation and creativity. No repetitive jobs. Repetitive jobs will not last at all. They are gone, they are finished. Because they are the easiest to automate. Teller, हम सब मतलब यहाँ पे जो सीनियर्स हैं, हम सब बैंक में जाके उसको पर्सनली जानते थे टेलर को बाय नेम, उसको अपना विड्रॉल स्लिप या चेक देके बेरर चेक देके पैसा लिया है. अभी कहाँ है टेलर? खत्म. Okay, people management skills, this will always remain. Okay, coordinating with others effectively. We are doing more coordination with more variables than ever before in the history of mankind. Some of which is with machines. Human beings are closer to machines than ever before, right? Everyone, each one of you is carrying one in your pocket right now, unless you are already wearing a wearable device. Okay, judgment and decision making, very tricky area. Service orientation, it will always remain. Negotiation, very tough work. Emotional intelligence facilitator, organizations will have EI facilitators. Cognitive flexibility. Normally cognitive sciences are Pythagoras theorem. The sum of the squares of two sides is equal to the square of the third side in a right angle triangle. Cognitive flexibility. AI. And how AI will interpret the set of data that you have given. If you look at some of the impacts of digital transformation on FOW, automation and rise of the gig economy, new job opportunities, we talk of new roles in organizations, need for upskilling and reskilling. If half-life of skills has gone down to about say 5 years, that was a 2021 report, I think now it must be 4 years or 3.5 years. And if you are going to work, I don't know if you are going to work, for 40 years, you will have to reinvent yourself approximately 8.5 times. Reinvent yourself. Large-scale reinvention of your skills, your perspective, your knowledge, what you do, what outcomes will be there. What outcomes will come out of your effort, that will change. Okay? Promoting DEI, we talked about it, but there are issues. Like I said, the workplace is not a place anymore, and work is what you may do anytime, from anywhere, on any device. That is work. Thankfully, COVID has taught us to adapt to some of these things. Okay? The future of work encompasses changes in work, workforce, workplace. What work can be automated? Where is the work being done? Where can it be done more cost effectively, more sustainably, right? And who can do the work? Who's the best person to do this work? Maybe you hire that person for just 7 days in a year. He or she has a job elsewhere, and you are encouraging them to do moonlighting. Right? Skills obsolescence, the jobs that are available today are 21st century jobs. But the way people perform these jobs is still stuck in the 20th century. In the 19th century, there was a massive wave, Alvin Toffler, third wave, urbanization worldwide. The educational system was created to train the workforce for the new world of manual and clerical work in cities. Many companies have uniform, right? You go at a particular time. You have a lunch break or a tea break at a particular time. You leave factory at a particular time. इसका ट्रेनिंग कहाँ दिया? स्कूल में 7 बजे पहुंचो, 7:10 पे प्रेयर, 7:30 बजे फर्स्ट पीरियड. Training. That is the training given. And suddenly work is being done flexibly. You don't need that training anymore. So you see that link where it's going. So the education system was created to train the workforce for the new world of work that was coming up in cities all over the world. And London, New York, Bombay, all these happened in that first wave. In the 20th century, work was dominated by factory jobs on an assembly line. The education system built in the previous century with some changes still suited factory workers and managers, and to some extent has also suited the first wave of service industry, Bangalore, India, Silicon Valley. But the future is not going to be like that. It's going to change completely. Management focused on tools to optimize work, operational efficiency called Taylorism, some management tools like Six Sigma, TPM, etc. So skills obsolescence, freelancing, gig, remote work, old models of imparting learning and skills which are expected to last a lifetime are not good enough. Some of us or our parents walked out of college with a degree, even BA, BCom, and their whole life they worked in the same department or same organization, right? World Economic Forum research in 2017 said that half-life of skill is about 5 years. Today this number will be less. So skill, reskill and reskill again. Okay. Jobs in 2030, some are yet to be invented. Blockchain jobs, virtual reality jobs, ethical hacker, or any job in cybersecurity. Work from home facilitator, right? Digital content creator, we are familiar with that. AI application jobs. One of the things with technology is that technology development has always been ahead of technology application. So you need more people who will find ways in which technology can be applied. Today, if you look at the availability of technology, including cloud computing, supercomputing, enormous amounts. How much are we applying? Maybe less than 10% of it. Human machine teaming manager. I said earlier that human beings are closer to machines than ever before in the history of mankind. But how will human and machine work together? Teamwork. Suppose machine में मना कर दिया. Suppose hypothetically. An AI-driven machine says, no, I will not do this. What are you going to do? Figure it out, right? Fitness commitment counselor, workplace environment architect, environment managers, personal risk counselors, and so many more. So March 22, Vishal Garg, we all know this, CEO of Unicorn, he sat 900 employees on a Zoom call. November 2022, Mark Zuckerberg laid off 11,000 people of the global workforce of Meta. IBM has recently replaced a lot of HR professionals with AI agents. The future of HR is already here, and it is automated, right? What's the way forward? So Elon Musk has said, robots will take your jobs, government will have to pay your wages. He was actually speaking at the World Government Summit in Dubai on 14 November 2016. And he was asked to comment by the Sheikh of Dubai, who was moderating this conversation, to comment on widespread job losses due to large-scale automation and rapid growth of AI applications. As more and more jobs are replaced by technology, people will have less and less work who will ultimately have to be sustained by payments from the government. He talked about something called universal basic income. This was talked about earlier also, some 30 years back, in Sweden. It was put to vote. The bill was tabled in Parliament, it was rejected, it was turned down. Okay? I think we talked about it, composition of workforce, more heterogeneous than ever before, on balance sheet, off balance sheet, combination of on-site and remote, full-time, part-time, gig, outsourced, contractual, self-employed, associates, consultants. The list is growing and growing. Dealing with moonlighting and hot desking. I want somebody else's employee to come and work for me 7 days a year, and I'm ready to pay him a lot of money. But if one of my employees goes and does that somewhere else, I'm not happy. We need to adapt some of these changes. Co-working spaces, we have talked about it briefly. Technology is playing a vital role in enabling flexibility. This shift has driven companies to invest in software and digital platforms to support business learning. But in our country, especially cities like Bombay, houses are small. So working from home is not always a very great option. As a result, companies are investing in collaborative tools. Real estate developers are creating co-working spaces so that people can go there, sit and work. Shared workplace, co-working space, collaborative workplaces already exist. All these are images of co-working places. You recognize these names? Anyone? क्या चाहिए?
Saravath Capital, Delos to Karnataka.
All these are from Vadodara. They are not just in Bangalore and Gurgaon and Hyderabad. आप બધું વડોદરામાં છે. These are co-working spaces in the city of Vadodara where we are sitting right now. Features and advantages of co-working spaces: high-speed Wi-Fi, security, lockers, reception, CCTV, cafeteria, centralized AC, parking, smoking, non-smoking areas. They are ideal for entrepreneurs, bloggers, freelancers, startups, content creators, anybody. Just walk in and use. The future of the workplace, 2030 plus, has been psychologically designed to comprise of an emotional workplace, a physical workplace, a technological workplace, and a purposeful workplace. And any workplace, wherever it is, will have to fulfill criteria of all these 4 kinds of workplaces. The office is not just a physical space. You feel a sense of belonging. You identify Jyoti, Sarabhai, Olympic. I mean, if you talk of Baroda, right? If you go to Bangalore, everyone will talk of Infosys, right? So it's not just a physical place. You identify with it. There is a meaning that you derive, a positive meaning that you derive by going there and then coming back home and saying, I work for Infosys, or I work for this company or that company. Okay? FOW debates increasingly seek answers to one more important question, which is, where should I work? 67% of Americans are disengaged at their work. 4-Hour Work Week is a book. It's one of the top selling books of the last decade. People are beginning to define early retirement as their dream. Given the option between working a long time at a fulfilling job or retire early, only 34% of Americans would choose to work a long time at a fulfilling job. So the whole issue is much more complex. There are many variables at work here, and I don't think, forget about finding, as I said in the beginning, all the answers to all the questions. I don't think we have yet started asking the right questions, which we need to do. Some of which will be behavioral, not all will be technological. In any case, technology is impacting human behavior in a much greater manner than ever before. Half of the global workforce is quiet quitting. नौकरी पे जा रहे हैं, मिनिमम जितना काम करना है उतना ही कर रहे हैं, उससे ज़्यादा नहीं. We learn important life lessons when we give ourselves over to hard work. Determination, attentiveness, discipline, responsibility, problem solving, teamwork, self-control, resilience. All this you learn from the workplace. These lessons in turn serve you well in other areas of your lives: health, relationships, hobbies, financial management. You learn lessons at the workplace, you apply them in other walks of life. As long as you like what you're doing, your work conditions are fair, and the nature of job isn't risky or life-threatening, you will enjoy various long-term benefits of working. And I'm not just talking about provident fund and gratuity. Okay? Employment is good both for your physical and mental health, as it allows you to meet people, different people, boosts your sense of self-esteem, and gives you a sense of long-term purpose and a strong, stable identity. Okay? 5 trends that are shaping the future of work: new behaviors shaped by social media and the web, technologies, cloud, collaborative technology, IoT, big data, millennial and Gen Z workforce, new expectations, attitudes and ways of working, instant gratification. We are seeing that, right? Blinkit, 10-minute grocery. They are not competing with Amazon. Amazon is your kirane ka dukaan. Blinkit is, आपने मटर पनीर बनाना शुरू किया, उसके बाद पता चला कि जीरा पाउडर खत्म है. बनाते बनाते वहीं पे ऑर्डर किया, जब तक जीरा पाउडर डालने का टाइम आया तब तक वो डिलीवर करते हैं. Instantly, it's your pantry in your kitchen. It's not that provision store where your parents and grandparents went. Okay? So millennial and Gen Z workforce, new expectations, new aspirations, and some of that will come with the workplace. They will want instant gratification. They are already asking for it in the workplace. Mobility, portability, work anywhere, anytime. Globalization, no boundaries, seamless. There are people who come on holiday for 10 days from USA and then they work 20 days here, work from home. There are issues of taxation. Can money earned while you're working in India be taxed in US? No. Legally no. But then it has to be taxed. Government of India will not tax it because you didn't earn the money by doing work here. So a lot of issues. Top 5 growth areas for the future: technology and computational thinking, caregiving, we talked of it earlier, social intelligence and new media literacy, new forms of media will emerge, lifelong learning, adaptability and business acumen. Okay. Right, I think we'll skip this part. So I'm getting late. So work has changed, employees are changing. Yeah, sure. The role of the manager is also changing. Organizations are changing, right? The workplace of the future is more and more digital, global, interconnected, socially conscious, environmentally responsible, driven by advances in technology, blah, blah, blah. Let me end on this. So, typically, if you look at your payroll systems, most of you, how are you paid? Number of days present. In future, you will have to earn with your mind, not the time you spend at the workplace. That concept is wrong.
We have 2 questions, quick questions.
Yeah, please.
It has to be some question, huh? Not at all. It has to be a question, to the point question.
It is
Right.
my standard, because people should understand, first hear the question, so the question is not heard.
Achha,
So
question aa
it will
rahi
be
hai.
irrelevant. So the question is about future of work. So, the first part is control of the AI technologies, is one part. Second is creative, disruptive technologies.
Sir, talk ho jayega. Sir, question mein aa rahi hai.
If these two are concentrated on these two, one is control of the existing technology and the second is creative disruptive technology to replacing that. If we can concentrate on these, and the third is time management of the vast amount of time available because of work being taken over by the machine.
Sir,
If we think of these
recommendation-
things as future of work,
Sir, please.
why not think?
Recommendations and
See,
prescriptions.
I am talking about future of work, 3 inputs I am giving. Thank you so much.
So,
Thank you, sir.
it is not a question, it is a description. Okay. Anyone? Yeah, please. Please.
So, based on AI, I had a project done at my college. Okay. So that time variable computing was a project name. So that was laughed it out before a decade or 15 years or so. Okay. So do I see AI being laughed out after 10-15 years or 2 decades or so just because of its disadvantages? So that would be my question.
I doubt
to
it.
Yeah.
I doubt it. And let me tell you very quickly, if I can take 2 minutes. Even this AI without database, we talked about it. Were you there by then?
Yes, I was there. Yes.
AI without database. So see, AI will do more for you by volume, by value, if you give it certain autonomy. The same is true of human beings. That's why we talk of empowerment of employees. The same will be true of AI, because AI is mimicking human behavior, right? Now the example that I gave was a bit on the darker side. On the positive side, you never know, there could be problems which AI might solve, which mankind has not been able to solve till now. Hunger, poverty, conflict. Even dealing with CO2, which is one of the greenhouse gases. There's a huge problem we are facing right now in dealing with the largest concentration of greenhouse gas in the atmosphere is basically CO2, carbon dioxide. Second being methane. Now the problem with CO2 is it's an extremely stable molecule. Carbon का valency 4, 2 covalent bonds, CO2, 1 atom of carbon, 2 atoms of oxygen. Pre-industrialization 160 to 180 ppm. Today it's about 450 ppm. इसलिए इतना गर्मी हो गया. But उसको split करना बहुत कठिन है. if you use energy from fossil fuels to split CO2, you will end up with more CO2 than you started out with. And you never know, AI might solve that problem for you. So I don't think anybody will be able to laugh out AI so easily. But I do hope that individuals and institutions and leaders who are going to be in charge of implementing AI transformation in their respective spheres of control are able to apply their mind and do it judiciously, which I think will happen.
So sir, for that particular data, a person, it has to be done through a person, right? So that person or that particular human being should be ethical in the approach. Then the proper or the true data can be inserted or the database can be trusted, right? So that was my
That's a
question.
statement. That's a statement.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it again
I agree.
depends on the humans also, right?
Yeah.
Your name, please?
Hiral Baru.
What you will see, AI will take the job, technology will take the job. I personally feel that AI, we are not losing our job. What happened, AI will support us to take the right decision, correct decision, and they will make you more effective in working. This is what I think. What is your opinion?
Let's stick to existing, in technology they say state of the art. So state of the art is वर्तमान में क्या है? So let us stick to facts as much as possible rather than opinions. Opinions then becomes a very grey area. Please don't mind. You have an opinion, he has an opinion, he has 3 opinions, she has 7 opinions. How much do they say?
Thank you very much. Just a minute. You have a question.
I have an announcement, if you permit, to the crowd.
Sir,
We have AI office in Baroda.
Sir, actually that is not allowed as
Okay, and that's why I given you my
We
card.
said about ethics, ethical part of the BMA constitution. You can take prior.
I given you project, just tell me.
No,
Get contact.
that is not, we always encourage announcement, that is not an
Okay,
issue.
no.
But you should have taken little
I
prior,
was late, little bit late.
fine enough. Thank you very much, sorry to.
No issue, no issue.
Sir, thank you very much. I request, पहले ये LCD ऑफ करो, फोटोग्राफ्स ले लो, लाइटिंग, प्रोजेक्टर, सिक्स प्लस होने से फायदा है। Okay, now I request